I'm a bad mood, gotta keep it tight. Hold my baby squid, keep him out of sight. Talking about my life, government, stay away. Watch me drive, I'ma do it my own way. Squid in the ocean, swimming all alone. Ain't nobody telling me where to go. Living free, gotta stay true to myself. No need for interference from anyone else. Squid pro quo, that's the way to be. Living on my terms, setting myself free. Mama to my baby, protecting with my no government intrusion. I control my life.
Hey guys, it's Squid. Welcome back to the channel on this kind of humid but balmy Wednesday morning here in South Georgia. Oh my goodness. Hoy. Hey Flash fan, how are you? Shocked to see you're doing day court. Here's my thing. The only reason I'm doing day court is because I had already planned this stream. So we were going to go over the Collin Griffith unaliving trial where he is accused of unaliving his mother. It was in jury selection. I wasn't sure how long jury selection was going to take. So I was planning on going over all the documents, the last of the documents, and the last pretrial hearing this morning. And then Flash fan sends me day one that day one is starting and they are in opening statements. And I'm like, you know what? Why I will put the link. I put the link to my Discord in this description of the video. Flashfan sent me the link. We are going to do the same thing we do on night court. That's why we're starting at 10:15 instead of 9 o'clock. Woo! You just pulled the cord out of the wall. That's okay. I'll get it, baby. He's okay. She's like, fix it. We have something charging and the cord is laying across and she tripped on it. I figured we'd do the same thing. We would watch it on 1.25 speed because, you know, we still skip all the stuff. But I had already planned this stream, so it's like, why not? We will do the morning now. We will go until they break for lunch. And then at 7:30-ish tonight, it all depends on what time Mr. Squid goes to sleep, and the little one hasn't been going to sleep at her normal bedtime, so I'm not fighting it. You know, it's a pick your battles thing. So we're just going to go straight into day 1 p.m. And I think I might do that every day. I'll start at like 10:15, 10:30, do the morning, and then do the night 7:30 to whenever we finish the day. So I think that might be the best way to do it. That way we're not behind. And then we'll just catch up on night court Wednesday nights when this is over. Because I don't anticipate this being too long. And Flash fan, I appreciate you always sending me the links like you do. I will have everything in the Discord if you actually want to see the documents. Oh, and is this not going to let me? The law and crime is not going to let me back up to the beginning. Well, that is unfortunate. Dang nabbit, I was hoping it would let me back up. Maybe the court TV will. Otherwise, we might just have to go through the documents and be a half a day behind. Hey, Flash fan, do you know if the judge will let, or if this court TV stream will let you back up all the way to the beginning? Because this one is not. Let's see. Yep, they come in live and they only let me back up like 10 minutes. Well, that's unfortunate. Because it started 2 hours ago. So we're going to have to, if not, we will just go over the last hearing and we'll do the morning tonight and we'll just be a half a day behind. I hate when streams don't let you start from the beginning. Law and Crime decided to be a douchey one about it. How is everybody else doing this morning? And like things can't go as planned, right? Like that's just the way it works. Let's see. Court TV. Let me guess. Court TV is doing ASAP Rocky and not Collin Griffith. Darn it. Court TV trials. Yep, they are not letting me do. Well, that stinks. I will download it though, so that it doesn't affect us. Yeah, this judge is kind of a slow talker. It's just one of those weird like just weird situations. I hate sometimes I hate the way judges talk. So I have to turn this off. Yeah, it's not letting me it's not even letting me download it. Well, that's weird. Why does Law and Crime do this to themselves? Oh, my little one. So I think because it's not letting me back up all the way to the beginning, we will just do what we had originally planned. Yeah, Court TV doesn't have it. Why does Law and Crime completely yeah. Law and Crime just completely screws everything up. And everybody else's streams let me do it from behind or from the beginning, and Law and Crime does not. So it's just interesting how they do that. All right, so we'll just stick to what we had originally planned, and then we'll do night court. We'll do the first AM, and then tomorrow we'll do the afternoon and get into it. Tomorrow is going to be a busy day for me in streaming because at 1:30 we have the interesting the second day of going through Captain Kern's documents. He is educating us all on his story of his daughter and her unaliving, as well as kind of showing us what went wrong with the trial, why he's not in prison for life, and what we can do to make sure that our daughters we can learn a few things. And if you see something, say something. All right, so we are going to, since that's not working, we are going to get into there we go. We are going to get into what we watched or the last court hearing of this case. So this is 50 minutes. So we and it's court TV, so we're going to interrupt it quite frequently. But oh, good luck. So, and I know I'm a day behind. Tuesdays always are hard because I work. And then yesterday we had doctor's appointments and all that fun stuff that everybody has to do as adults who have children. And we just had a whole bunch of stuff. So it didn't work out for me to stream at all, which kind of put me behind the 8 ball, which I seem to always be behind the 8 ball. And I'm behind in all these documents because with all the what the hails court drops and trying to do random lives of getting those documents out and read, I'm behind on everything else. And as much as I want to work through the night, if I don't sleep well, I don't function well the next day, and I have lots of pain. So we have to do this. Yeah. Thanks, Unhung Hero, for the $2 super chat. Long crime and court TV is asshole. Yeah. I did not go off the grid. I had internet. We had appointments all morning, and then I worked last night. And by the time I got home, it was like, I got home at 9:30, and I'm like, just let me unwind and let me go to sleep. So we will see how this goes. We will watch this, and we'll just push everything back a half a day, and we'll try to catch up, but it's kind of all about figuring it out as we go, because trial watching is just that. Like, I can't sit and watch 8 hours of a trial. Y'all know that. So we just have to take it as we get it. So here is the pretrial hearing that I was sent yesterday.
2023, Collin was released by
He kind of gives a
Oklahoma
good background on
authorities
the case
and moved in with his mother in Port Charlotte. 7 months into his new life, deputies were once again dispatched to Collin's home after an explosive argument with his mother that turned violent. This body-worn camera video shows Collin in the back of a police vehicle as he talked with his grandmother.
I was saying, I'm not a psychopath. I'm not this murderer. I'm just trying to peacefully leave or peacefully coexist and just figure something out. She kept telling me to shut up and shut up, but when I wouldn't shut up, she hit me.
No, that's not what happened, Collin. That's not what happened. You never said you wanted to peacefully coexist.
I've been saying that.
The video went on to reveal neither grandma nor mom agreed with Collin's take, but the impasse was driving the teen to beg for another place to live.
Collin did not want to come back home.
Okay.
And I said, you don't have a choice. You have to go back home. And he said, no, I want foster care. And even the corporal was saying, foster care isn't going to be good for you. You don't have issues. You have to work on them.
But the pleas for foster care went unanswered as Collin was released the next day and right back in to his mother's home. That same day, Collin was Baker acted for telling jail workers he wanted to kill his mom. Here in the body camera that day, you can hear deputies explaining to the mom why he's being taken away.
I struggle with a kid that's being released from jail and saying, if you bring me back there, she's gonna die.
If we don't do something,
Shame on us.
Yeah, then we're not.
Shame on us.
Then we
didn't do our
failed.
job and we failed you. And I'm not failing you. Nor am I going to fail your son.
When deputies confronted Collin
Foreshadowing.
about those alleged threats to hurt his mother in this video from late 2023, Collin wasn't sure.
I'm in a constant state of fight or flight, and I don't know. If I think she's going to do something, even if she's not, I might act. I'm not going to go crazy or anything, but I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay.
You're not sure if you're going to.
Oh, Harry, just wait. It's not even if you can't get along with your own mom. He killed his dad a year prior in Oklahoma, and he claimed self-defense, and Oklahoma police could not prove that it was not self-defense. So he was never charged with anything. That's why he lived with his mother, is because he unalived his father last year or the year before. It's one of those.
Only if she tries to hurt me. Okay.
Less than a year after this incident, Collin called 911 from his grandmother's house in Polk County to report that his mother, Collin Griffith, had fallen on a knife and was bleeding from the neck, a claim that the medical examiner later determined was not possible.
Saying his mother fell on a knife, saying
How do
that he
you fall
had
on a
to
knife?
shoot his father. So now these prosecutors are addressing with the court this prior instance, and the judge is going to have to go through what this jury is going to know. Are they going to know that he killed his father? Are they going to know those circumstances? Are they just going to know there was an incident? Let's go into the hearing that began earlier this morning. So we're rewinding back our tape from the start. Take a look.
Rewinding. Oh, how about that?
Your ruling is against us on the attorney-client privilege. I do have some additional texts that might shed some more light. So,
All right, my ruling is against you on that, but not due to the nature of the communications. First of all, I want to clarify.
I'm on a diet.
something.
I'm starting greens powder. I'll let you know how it tastes.
I want to make clear that under the law, it's the intent of the client. When we're talking about the crime fraud exception, it's the intent of the client. That's
Thank you for the $1.99 super chat, J-Hip.
And that it's immaterial whether the lawyer knows that the client intends to commit a crime or perpetrate a fraud. And that's from First Union National Bank versus Attorney TUR NUI 824 Southern 2nd 172. The regardless of that, however, the court finds that the defendant knew or should have known, given, and this is assuming, this is conditional, assuming the state is able to prove that this cell phone was not, was owned by either his mother or a person acting in loco parentis, that the defendant knew or should have known that its contents were accessible by that person. I recognize the argument that you've made that a juvenile has a right to privileged communications with their lawyer. I agree. However, and even you've asked, well, how is he supposed to communicate? And I think I responded, he could call his
And I'm
lawyer
sorry, the
and
audio
respond
sucks.
again. There could be an eavesdropper. All of those things are true. The court still finds that a juvenile is able to have confidential communications with their attorney under those circumstances. But especially when we're talking about someone who is in this particular relationship with the alleged victim in this case, who knows that she is always watching and observing and is, I don't want to say helicopter parent, but is on top of him, so to speak, that he knew or should have known that the contents of his phone would be accessible to her. So that is conditioned on the state being able to prove at trial, first, that he didn't own the phone outright himself and the account, and that it was either owned by a parent or someone in loco parentis. So I don't know that your additional texts would matter in terms of the basis of my ruling.
Since it's conditioned on the state.
She brought me an ice cube, her fake plastic ice cube from her
is at
kitchen
the
set
time that they're
in a
making
pan.
effort to prove
She's
those
blowing on it like
things.
it's hot.
And I have text to counter that with, maybe sort of relitigating.
What does the state anticipate being able to prove with respect to ownership?
The state anticipates on proving what your owner stated here in court.
That the parent owns the phone? Yes? No? I mean,
Well, the state will want to make sure that it's in accordance with the court's ruling. There will be additional things that will be looked into to make sure.
Good morning.
so you don't have that proof at this point, is what you're saying?
No, but Detective Peters testified to
Morning.
it at the hearing, Your Honor.
Hey.
I want to make sure that there's any additional.
Was there testimony at the hearing as to ownership?
So for those of you just joining, this trial starts this morning. Law and Crimes, I did not realize that Law and Crimes feed will not let me back up to the beginning. Like most people's live streams, you can back up all the way to the beginning and play catch up. I know for tomorrow that I need to start it when it starts and just pause it. We are watching the last hearing before the trial starts. This is what we are watching right now.
Of account, phone, all that.
Although I don't have the transcript yet, I don't believe he knew that. I believe he said he believed that Kathy had bought him the phone. But as you pointed out, and as I will repeatedly point out, Kathy made things up. And
Understand that.
yeah, and some of the things she bought for Collin and claimed she bought for him came from Collin's trust. So I don't know that they're going to be able to prove who owned the phone.
All right. Did you want to go ahead and proffer that information
Sure.
today
Sure.
so that everyone can be on notice?
And of course, there, we don't have all the extra copies of this particular one. Okay, this is a text from Catherine to Susan on February 12th, 2024, where Catherine says to Susan, "Hey Mom, I just wanted to let you know that I've been told they're filing the shelter petition. So I'm waiting just to get that documentation. I guess the hearing is going to be tomorrow and we'll go from there. So let me know because I'm not sure what we're supposed to do. But if this is all being put on by Collin's attorney, who isn't answering your call, and he's also not answering my attorney's calls." So this was offered to show that Collin was in fact, Mr. Rapkin was in fact Collin's lawyer, not somebody else's lawyer. I don't know that that's entirely relevant to your ruling, but I think it's safe to at least have it in.
I was satisfied that you had established there was an attorney-client relationship between Mr. Griffith and Mr. Rapkin. That was not part of my concern.
All right, let me go through these others and see if they address something.
And Flash fan, you're right. This judge does talk super slow. So 1.25 speed is going to be our friend. So with this, there's text messages between him and a former attorney, but wasn't technically his attorney, is the kind of the gist I got of it. And he said some things in those text messages that the prosecution would really love to use. Yeah, he does have that sleepy ASMR voice.
This young man is 17 years old, and his trial is supposed to start next week. And Court TV is going to be covering it. You're going to hear in this hearing today how it's going to be covered. As with any trial that we bring you, there are restrictions and things that are hashed out ahead of time.
Thanks, Jay, for the $4.99 super chat. In a normal stream, there would be a wig or some sort of gimmick to entertain me, maybe some product reviews. I don't. Well, y'all know I'm bad with the grifting and the gimmicky crap. Like I suck at it. It just, people can do it and it comes across as just part of their personality. When I do it, I feel like it comes across as fake. I do have the little joke of it. For every $25 in super chats, I eat one of them suckers. They're garlic cloves that are like super, super, super hot. They're like, they got like ghost peppers and reaper peppers and stuff on them. But I'm sorry if I'm boring you. But this is one of those things of like, court can be boring. And the fact that this is not as dramatic as some of the things we've been talking about lately, but it is an interesting case of a kid who unalived his dad, and then after the charges were dropped from him unaliving his dad, unalives his mom. It's the psychology. Is he a psychopath? Is he just evil. I mean, because you can just be an evil person and not have a psychological diagnosis. It is, to me, it is, I'm going to skip past and see if we can get back into the body cam footage. It is just amazing to me how, and I kind of figured that, because when people rage quit, they usually don't send money to rage quit. Like, so I figured you were messing with me, but it's just one of those things of like, we need a slower pace of like, we've been going with everything is all what the hails. And it's like, it is dramatic, it's funny, but it's like, it's causing drama on both sides, between people on this side are infighting, people on this side are infighting, and it's just like, oh yeah, it's mentally draining. It's entertaining when you're not involved in the drama, but it's it's a little dramatic. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. The mom had she was a parent at a very young age, so maybe a 39-year-old being a parent of a 17-year-old doesn't quite, the math, if you do the math on that, she was a very, very young parent. And at 39, yeah, you're mature, but like, if you have problems, they're more apparent, because you can have some problems when you're in your 20s of immaturity and things, but you tend to grow out of them. But when you're 39 and you're having to deal with a 17-year-old, any issues that you have might come back up. And now, I'm not saying she was perfect. We'll see. We'll see what the prosecution says. We'll see what the defense says, and we'll make our opinions from there. But it's just kind of it gets kind of like just a little. I love psychology. I wanted to be a psychologist. But then I realized you can't do anything with a bachelor's in psych. You have to get a master's. And if you don't get into a master's program, then you're SOL and you have to start over. So I changed my mind. But psychology fascinates me. Like the psychology of a 2-year-old who stood up and started crying for no reason. So let's get back into this hearing. Yeah, you get drowned out on it with them. Since everyone is doing what the hells, everyone is kind of doing what the hells in a way. I try to do it differently and just stick to the court documents, but I try to just stick to the facts, and people are going deeper on some issues, other people are going deeper on issues, and I'm just sticking to the facts. But that's still like mind-blowing at times when you're like, say what? What happened? What happened? Oh, what happened? I'm sorry you felt. Wait, was it in my chat that you? Well, I didn't stream last night, so never mind. That couldn't have been me. When someone says they're feeling attacked, I'm like, oh, I hope that wasn't in my chat or on my channel. And then I realized that I didn't stream yesterday because I was at work. Oh, you just heard about this case you're covering last night? Yeah, I've been following this case since pretty much the beginning. So when I like to do that and then see it through. Not all of the cases that I start covering go to trial. So when it does, I like to cover it.
He attacked me, my dad, and when he did, he tried to kill me with a knife, and then it was in Oklahoma, and he died. So,
Okay.
Yeah. How was that? I shot him.
So there is the young man at the center of a big motions hearing today in Florida. Collin Griffith is accused of murdering his mother.
Yeah, it happened in September. Flash fan sent it to me in October.
This was months after he killed his father in self-defense, allegedly self-defense. Kind of makes you wonder now in light of these new charges pertaining to his mom. But his claim with his mom is that she lunged at him, so he says, with a knife during an argument, and that she then fell on that same knife. Police say his story doesn't Makes sense. Let's go into the courtroom now. His trial is set to start next week, and his attorneys are hashing things out with the judge. What comes in, what stays out? Where we left off, we were looking at some text messages he exchanged with his mother. Makes you wonder, what did she know about his father's killing? Let's go in.
This one is Kathy admitting she went through his text messages, not
Okay.
because she accessed it on.
You see this little girl? She has a fly swatter. It's the one of those retractable ones. So she pulls it in, pulls it out. That's her new favorite thing to play with. The other day, can any of the parents tell me if this has happened to you? She now knows how to like open doors. And since our house is old, the doors don't always like the door handle doesn't always latch. This girl comes in to the bathroom when I'm sitting down doing my business and starts hitting me with a fly swatter. Has anybody been swatted while in the bathroom by their child? Or is it just me? Random side note, but this happened to me Monday.
On his phone because she can see them on his MacBook. So I don't know that resolves the issue at all, because it indicates some subterfuge on her part, not willingly or knowingly allowing her to see otherwise confidential or privileged messages.
I think that's really part and parcel of.
Hey, King Taco. How you doing this morning?
Right.
Is that, at its core, a child whose parent or guardian or someone acting in love with a parental grandparent, whatever, who has some supervisory authority over that child, who has a phone bought and essentially controlled by an adult, that children know these days. Their parents can see what's on their phone, or have access and can find ways to access the contents of the phone. So that's really the basis of my ruling. Get this phone, and I struggled a little bit with, even if it's not their phone, the parent's phone. Even then, because a parent has supervisory authority over a child, they may still lack an expectation of privacy in the contents of a phone.
Oh my goodness, Tammy.
That seemed to bridge too far given the juvenile's right.
Well, I'm very glad that he did it, and I hope things worked out. And I hope this case is not triggering to you in any way.
Suggest that it could either confirm what the basis of my ruling is that he should have known that she had access.
Well, this is a communication between her and her own mother. It's not to Collin. I've gone through the messages.
I understand, but in any event,
The microphone I purchased.
Yes.
20
and the state understands the basis of my ruling.
I do,
Look,
Judge.
I've never heard of that
Actual
microphone.
proof of the crime.
But I've never heard of a lot of
Exception,
things, so.
recognizing that it's, I think, although it's a little bit unclear, that under Florida law, the state or the proponent of the alleged privileged communication and the one claiming crime fraud would have to establish a prima facie showing that the intent was to get information for the purposes of committing crime or fraud. I think the burden then shifts to the opponent of disclosure to present evidence to refute that, and then it becomes sort of a preponderance of the evidence weighing thing. But it's a limited information before the court,
Yeah.
regardless of the.
Yes, this is a Florida case. This is the mother and her son. So the victim and her son lived in Port Charlotte. However, the crime happened at the grandmother's house, which is in Polk County. So it's in two different counties. but they didn't actually live in Polk County, but the grandmother did. And it's at her house that the crime happened. So it's in Polk County with one of the reasons that I got really interested in this is anybody who knows Florida sheriffs knows Sheriff Grady Judd. He did a press conference on this, and we watched that on this channel. He is so funny. He is hilarious. So that's kind of what got me interested in this. And this was right after Carly Gregg. So I have a thing with being interested in kids who unalive their parents and the reasons why and how not to make that happen. Yeah, and the father was unalived in Oklahoma. Baby girl, you did that to yourself. How do you get out? You're stuck. She moved all the chairs and made herself a little fort under the table, and now she can't figure out how to get out. So I'm gonna restart this, and I'm gonna move a chair for her so she can get out. I love 2-year-olds.
The eerie nature of the communication, the court determines by preponderance that the communications were that the communications, the state has not proved by the preponderance that the communications are excluded because the defendant intended was seeking advice and with the intent to commit a crime. That is not established by the preponderance of the evidence. So the basis of the ruling is that he knew or should have known that the communications would be or could be viewed by another. All right.
And if I,
Yes.
Ms. Thorne, do you have a copy of the text message?
I only have one copy. Yes.
Thank you.
This was from your discovery slide.
Yeah, thank you. And this is about the mom texting Susan about her reviewing.
Her going through how she was able to see his messages on his MacBook.
I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Judge.
All right. As to the evidence regarding the Oklahoma killing of Mr. Griffith, Charles Griffith.
When I move and I have a kitchen that is not from the 60s or 70s.
Florida is ready for clarification in terms of this issue between Williams rule and inextricably intertwined evidence. And when it's Williams rule, does there always have to be similarity, or is that just for identity?
Hello.
As best I can determine, in this
Slug
case,
raid.
I
Hey,
am
Slug Raiders.
analyzing it under an inextricably intertwined evidence standard because it appears that one of the motives, the evidence suggests that one of the motives for that the state could prove in this case would be exposure for the crime, the killing in Oklahoma, specifically that he had confessed to murder and allegedly that there was Ring doorbell evidence of it, and that this was on the defendant's, a message sent to the defendant close in time. The court wants to reiterate.
Hey, traveling fools. I haven't seen you in a while. How are you?
For which the state has offered it while it's clear, and there's really no dispute.
Are you eating them or are you playing with them?
His father. There's absolutely been a dispute as to whether it was the result of justifiable use of deadly force. The state has not proven by clear and convincing evidence that the killing was in Oklahoma, that the killing did not result from the justifiable use of deadly force. So that's why I will not allow it for all of the other purposes the state has offered it. So it's the only relevance that the court finds then is motive for the killing of Kathy. I also recognize the highly prejudicial nature of it of a child who is on trial for allegedly murdering his mother, for evidence to come out that the defendant allegedly, that the defendant killed his father some years ago. So I don't find that it's relevant what the identity of Mr. Griffith is or the relationship. What is relevant is that the defendant was a suspect, person of interest, whatever they're calling him, in the killing of his father in Oklahoma, but that the fact that the alleged victim in that case was his father is not relevant to that. It doesn't matter who it is. It's the fact that he was a suspect, and that now his mother is is threatening to expose him as having confessed to it being a murder. So I will allow the state through those text messages to present evidence that the defendant, the alleged victim in this case, threatened to expose the defendant as confessing to murder, but will not allow the state, unless the door is opened, will not allow the state to identify Charles Griffith as the deceased or to establish the nature of the relationship between Mr. Griffith and the deceased in Oklahoma, and also to present evidence that he has yet or has not been charged as of today.
I'm sorry, you will or will not allow evidence that he has not been charged as of today?
Okay, so they won't allow his father's name to be mentioned. That's going to be interesting.
The state would do that to make sense out of the motive. Mr. Levine, did you have a question?
I did, Your Honor.
So anywhere Mr. Griffith's name appears or is stated in some audio state, whatever that might be, it needs to be taken out. And any reference to him being Collin Griffith's father.
Did you say, was there something in between the last thing and the first thing where you said the state could talk about the relationship between someone and someone?
Yes, the fact that the deceased in Oklahoma is Collin Griffith's father has no bearing on the issue for which the court has found admission of this evidence relevant. The fact is that he was a suspect in a killing of another human being in Oklahoma, whatever, I can't remember the date now, that he has not been charged with that offense. I'm assuming Ms. Thornhill may develop that some as to reasons why he hasn't been charged. I don't know. But that he hasn't been charged, and then that the alleged victim in this case threatened to expose him as having confessed that that was a murder. But yeah, the name and the relationship are not relevant to that motive.
And maybe the relationship that
to the extent that they are, the danger for unfair prejudice substantially outweighs the probative value of knowing who it was and what the relationship was.
you say the relationship.
Okay. So it sounds like, and y'all can correct me if I'm wrong if you heard that a different way, he can't name, they can bring in the fact that he unalived somebody, but he was never charged, so they can't bring in the person's name or the person's relationship. Y'all can, yeah. And I can't think it's self-defense after he unalived his father too. That's where it's like, but the jury won't hear that it's his father, if I'm understanding the judge's ruling correctly. He takes a lot of words. He kind of reminds me of DeThomasis in the sense of he takes a lot of words to say what? Like, to say what I could say or the average person could say in, 10 seconds. The Oklahoma district attorney say, depending on the outcome of this case, they may reopen the dad's case. Dad could be, yeah. And this is why we need mental health in this country, and people need to pay these people attention when they reach out for help. There's that. And it's also, there's a fine line between, and this is where we start getting into a controversial thing. There is a fine line, in my opinion, this is personally my opinion, between helping someone and being okay with the fact that they have a mental illness. Like, I have depression and anxiety. So being accepting of the fact that someone has a mental illness and not making it a huge deal, while also not buying into the mental illness and making it an excuse for people to act like assholes. Like, there's a fine line there. Like, yes, helping someone and it being accepting and not making it a stigma that they have a mental illness, but also not buying into and treating the mental illness like it's not a mental illness. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to quite get into that in this stream because it's not appropriate, but if you know what I mean, you kind of know what I mean. Like, making someone that has a mental illness can act like an asshole and do whatever they want because they have a mental illness. I don't agree with that either. There's a fine line. We live in this gray area of a world where everybody tries to make things a black and white issue, one side or the other, and we live in this giant gray area in the middle. And not everything is that. I don't know. We will find out, though. So it's like they cover what they are trying to say in word spillage and not just straight to the point, black and white. Yeah. Like, yeah, I don't do that stuff. I stick with my buddies. I wouldn't have been on a live with you a few days back if it wasn't the case. I appreciate that. I try to not be a dick to anybody. Like, I can have people in the chat that I don't agree with, but that doesn't mean they're not welcome here. We just agree to disagree on certain things. And people in my chat, if you don't agree with me, or if you're on the complete other side of the issue, like I know some of you have been, I don't like people in my chat to attack those people. And that's true too. I don't like Wednesday, you said you were attacked in a different chat, and I apologize for that. And I feel bad for that, because here, just because someone has a different opinion than you, don't attack them, because they are here listening to a point of view that they don't agree with. And that is part of the problem in society these days, is no one listens to, we all live in echo chambers. And if we always communicate with people who agree with us on everything, we're never going to learn from each other and be able to cooperate. We will continue to move farther into our own echo chambers. So the fact that there are people in my chat who don't agree with me, I think is freaking amazing, because you tell me your opinions, I tell you mine. And as long as we can back them up with a reason and not just say, well, so-and-so told me, it's fine. Everybody's great.
And not the, can't mention that it was the deceased was the defendant's dad, correct? Or his name or anything.
Family, just the relationship. I mean, are you wondering whether whether some aspect of the relationship matters? Because if so, let's go ahead and clear that up now. The fact that he has been suspected of murder and not charged, and now has a threat that he's going to be exposed for having confessed to it being a murder, is what's relevant. I fail to see under that limited relevance.
If you're the praying type, throw up a couple prayers.
The nature of the relationship adds to the mix, whether it's familial, whether it's specifically his father.
So the jury will understand that the defendant was arrested for the crime, but they won't know that the victim or the deceased was his dad or Charles Griffith or anything regarding the name or the relationship, i.e. father-son. Okay.
Unless that door is open, I don't know. Ms. Thornhill had indicated at the hearing.
This judge has a tough job, doesn't he? So it appears that in this text message between the defendant and his mother, that she was talking about exposing him for the killing of his father. Now, again, he was initially charged, but those charges were dropped. Investigators deemed it a self-defense incident, and he was never put through the criminal justice system and never went through a
I'm
trial
sorry.
like he's about to go through next week for allegedly killing his mother. And so now the trial judge has a tough job here, because should the jury know that he killed his father? How should the court handle this? Let's bring in our legal analyst guest. He is the chief trial
Right,
attorney
and we're
in the
skipping
Muskegon County,
past
Michigan
the
District Attorney's
court
Office,
TV.
Matt Roberts, on the show this morning. Matt, good morning to you. Oh, how might the judge handle this mess? Let's go back in.
That case here, I don't know, given my subsequent ruling, whether she intends to do that or to do that as much, but I'm not going to ask her what she intends to do. But if that comes out of the bag, obviously it comes out of the bag.
Now, you mentioned through text. Does that mean that any of the facts of the case or the evidence that I put on it, that the hearing is admissible, such as body cam footage and or crime scene photos and or anything like that?
Mr. Lemine, what is relevant is that he was a suspect, that he hasn't been charged.
I try to always be logical.
Case in chief. I don't know what Ms. Thornhill is going to do with that. Those things might become relevant, but at the outset.
Is anybody else really, really, really hoping that the defense opens the door for names to be mentioned? Because I don't. Yeah, and Rogue Mama in Megan's chat, Rogue Mama is the reigning superior mod who has more power than the rest of us. She always says just because someone has a different opinion doesn't make them a troll. And on that topic, people are quick to jump on. The thing I've noticed is people on both sides tend to think the same way. If you don't agree with us, you agree with them. And it's like, no, I'm somewhere in the middle. What do you need, baby? All right, I'm going to restart this and I'm going to go follow her. Do you want a snack? Okay, I'm going to go see what she wants. So I'm going to restart this and I will be right back. Because I'm getting the finger of she'll drag me to where she wants.
It's the fact that he was, and I don't even remember if they said he was charged.
He wasn't, he was arrested.
Right. So the fact that he was arrested in an incident involving the killing of another human being, and that he hasn't been charged, is what's relevant from that case. The details of it, unless Ms. Thornhill brings them out in an effort to mitigate the prejudicial nature of that evidence, just isn't relevant.
Substantial exhibit or evidence that would represent that would be largely or wholly the text message that Your Honor is allowing, correct?
I'm assuming that the witness to come to court to say there was an investigation and that he was ultimately charged or arrested after the killing took place.
Judge, this is just off the top of my head, but given the limited nature of your ruling about the state's case in chief, what if, maintaining my objection to any of this coming in, we have stipulation that fits your ruling, but that doesn't waive my objection, rather than having the state have to
I
bring
will look
somebody
at that.
from Oklahoma and just to say that.
Okay, I just have to stop this because Flash Fan brings up a really, really good point. Flash Fan, I'm going to out you. Flash Fan is a black male in his 20s from a very liberal city, DC. I am obviously not a black male. He is a Democrat. I hate the government, but fiscal conservative, the first time he was in my chat, we were watching the Republican National Convention and he watched the whole thing. So, and here he is, one of my most consistent, always supports me mods. Like, it's just, so it proves that I can get along with people who on paper, according to mainstream society, we're not supposed to get along. But, you know, this is me. I try to get along with everybody.
One thing. I understand in rebuttal, if I've opened the door, then
And
they may be able to call one or more Oklahoma witnesses. I don't know if that's an acceptable option.
That's something that could be considered, although I'm anticipating calling somebody from Oklahoma. So I'm inclined not to agree to that, but I will consider it and listen to that. But I'm inclined to call someone from Oklahoma to testify for the limited purpose in accordance with Your Honor's ruling. And just so it's crystal clear, the text message is admissible, correct, Your Honor?
Yes, and I should clarify, I mean, I think you can present evidence that the defendant did not dispute that he killed that person. So I would think you would need a witness for that, or if you agree to a stipulation that would need to be included in there.
if I were her, I would agree to a stipulation because you never know what that witness is going to say. But that's just my personal opinion. She might have a different theory than me, but when you bring in a witness and you ask a witness a question, you never know what that witness is going to say. So, I can see both sides of that story, and there's fault on both sides. It's become stupid to watch. And that's why I just covered the case, but I also, and Jeremy's been in my chat before, and he knows how I like I'm inclined to agree that both sides have not been on their best behavior at all times. It's just when one side attacks you and one side does not, I show a little bit more favoritism to the side that says you cover it like you cover it, and I don't care. Like you do you, it's your channel. I don't hate you for disagreeing with me on things. And then there's one side who brought up my daughter, and I'm more inclined to lean towards the side that says you do you, and not the side that goes, ha ha, your daughter could choke. Just my personal opinion, but yeah. And this is probably a good thing because sometimes chat gets a little contentious for no reasons. I just don't watch anymore, really, because I just don't have time. Like, I watched yesterday because I was on my way home from work, and it's a 40-minute drive right now. So I work one day a week, and I was on my way home from work, so that's when I watch on Tuesday nights. But other than that, like, I don't pay attention because that's part of the drama that I don't want to be involved in, or I don't even want to know.
Is anything about how the killing happened, such as shot the person, so that there could be some context? Otherwise, it might be the jury will be operating a vacuum, and it'll be very uncertain. The manner, was this just a complete accident? Was it self-defense? I know we're not going to get into the details, but the statement requests that the fact that he shot and killed the individual, that should be admissible.
Well, I don't think any of it should be admissible. Yeah, so I think once we start down that path, then it opens the door, just like I can open the door possibly. I think that opens the door to a whole lot more detail that Your Honor was trying to avoid having the jury hear.
Yeah, in some sense, though, it mitigates because it's a dissimilarity from the present case.
And I haven't thought this through, obviously. I'm being presented with the ruling.
I mean, it's the fact of the killing that is prejudicial.
We're going to hit pause right here. We'll be right back live with more of this big hearing ahead of trial for the.
Yeah, and they're going to Sir Frank Otter, Wednesday, it's fine. You're fine. You can talk about it. I don't care. You talk about what you I just need to write, Sir Frank, I'm writing you back on. So, Sir Frank, the topic that I wrote you about this morning is a cold case that alternate juror and Flash fan are working on, and it's from 1969, but I guess they have a suspect. And I was just curious about the best way to get documents, but I will tell Flash fan and AJ on my own time where to what you told me. So I appreciate the assistance. It's very much appreciated. And Wednesday, you're always welcome here. And if you have a different opinion than me on something, you know what? That's fine, because you're a grown up and you can do that. That's part of being an American. We can disagree on things and still live in peace and harmony.
Situation, then he had to take mom out, allegedly. Well,
Allegedly.
motive is an exception.
Let's see.
This to explain to a jury why a person might want to kill his mother, it's absolutely huge. Now, in a way, it's a little bit of a way to sort of bootstrap that other killing into things, and it sounds like they have a path
they would
to do that.
play the hearing without commentary.
Do you think that they're dealing with a dangerous child here?
Yes.
It's hard not to draw that inference given all the circumstances here, and certainly his actions in apparently killing his mother or allegedly killing his mother raise some questions.
Did everybody notice that in the body cam footage, he was just so calm? He had just unalived his mother, and he was just so calm. Like, even when the cops were called previously and they were discussing it, he was too calm. Like, I would be freaking out. Even if I did it as an accident, even if I did it intentionally as self-defense because they broke it, I would be hysterical. My personality, I would be like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. And but it's just one of those things of like, I see him being a dangerous child. Because, like, look at this body cam.
Apparently stomps on his mother, causing those officers to be concerned about his safety. So it really does speak to what really is going on with this young man, that it's not just a happenstance of it was self-defense the first time and there's some extenuating circumstances the second time, certainly.
Matt, tell us, can we assume that Collin Griffith has had a mental health evaluation as soon as he hit the jail on this case?
Hey, Melissa Joy, how are you this morning?
I would think so. Obviously, it would depend on the attorney and part of that first communication or the initial communications as to whether or not the person understands the nature of the proceedings. Then you're talking about competency, and I'm sure duration to a possible insanity defense, but those are really not as common as people might think they are, because there has to be an actual diagnosis of a mental illness to begin with, and then as a result of that mental illness, either the person doesn't understand the proceedings, then again you're talking about competency, or the person just simply cannot conform their behavior to the law, you're talking about insanity. All things I'm sure that the defense has considered in this case, and the fact that we're on the eve of trial and they haven't gone down that road indicates they probably can't even think they can get over that first hurdle of that there is actual mental illness here with him. So that's my theory on that.
Excellent points, as always.
I don't think they would ever go to insanity, because it's really hard to prove, and two, if he had no mental health evaluations prior, you can't just go, well, he went from fine to insane in the span of a day. It's a stretch in anybody's imagination. Let's get back to the actual hearing. Come on. There we go. Back to court.
I will allow that, the cause of death to
And
be
he actually had a mental health background, and it still didn't work.
presented me. Was two gunshots, this is correct. That he was shot twice, so, and that the defendant did not dispute that he shot that person.
Your Honor, if the cause of death is allowed in, and that is the two gunshots, my concern is that we're going to get testimony similar to what we had at the hearing, where, you know, there's this argument to be made that the shots weren't immediate, is kind of what the doctor was saying.
I did not say I was going to allow that. That he,
Touche.
Mr. Griffith, was arrested for the killing of another human being.
Jam, in regards to this, I do agree with what he said in that limited circumstance. That doesn't apply to everybody. That just applies to this person. I don't agree with him if is that statement that he made to the population at large. I believe insanity is there's no diagnosis of insane. You have diagnoses that one would qualify as making you insane, but it's one of those gray areas because two people can have say depression, and one person will be able to function in the world and the other person can't get out of bed on a daily basis. They have the same diagnosis. It's just affects them on a very large spectrum. Same person with someone who, say, has bipolar disorder. Like, one person takes medication, functions fine. The other person can take the same medication and it not help at all. So I think we also paint mental health as with a one size fits all kind of brush, and it's so not even close to that. And that's the other hard part with an insanity defense and or any mental health issue when it comes to the courts. I feel like the courts need to step back and stop taking a broad brush approach. So it's hard to prove insanity. I mean, it was obvious Dahmer was insane and they still lost. Yeah, I don't think Dahmer was insane, but that's just from someone who lived in the same city as Dahmer when I was a child. So, it can happen, though. You can snap. Haven't ever gotten so mad that you just totally go off on someone. Yeah, but I also have a diagnosis that would kind of back that up. I don't know anybody who doesn't have a mental health diagnosis that just does that to do that. Yeah, I don't think Dahmer was insane. I think he might have been what we view as insane, but I think he was very calculated and he knew exactly what he was doing. And that to me is not insane. So, yeah, verbally. And there's also things that we think of doing and we say that we don't actually do. But like, yeah. There's also, difference between what we think, and what we say. So, and what we do. It's very, very different things.
Who died as a result of Mr. Griffith shooting him twice, once in the head, once in the chest. That's it. Unless you develop that further.
I understand.
And I have a question as well. The fact that he was never charged, the sheriff's deputies that testified at the hearing were sort of vague about that. They're like, oh, I don't really know. OSBI took it over. What I don't want to happen is the impression that, as Mr. Levine said, he could be charged at any moment. I think that this jury needs to know that as of today, he has not been charged with that as a crime.
So
who would be able to say that?
Well, I'm assuming it would be one of those witnesses who testified who would know whether he's been charged or not.
Right, but if my memory of the hearing is correct, and their testimony, it was sort of vague. Oh, I don't really know because
at that time was he charged? Surely they would have known at that time that this came out. These text messages were sent. They would have known at that time whether he had been charged, right? Yeah, we all know he hasn't been charged.
Right. That's what I don't want is the individual from Oklahoma who was going to present evidence that there was a death and it was at the hands of Collin from 2 gunshot wounds. I don't want them to say, I don't know if he's never been charged, or it's not my
They
decision.
really say that, Mr.
No, we would not allow them, meaning collectively, Your Honor, myself, and the defense, because the truth has to be in front of the jury. So it's going to be explicitly clear that he wasn't charged.
I think what they were waffling about was whether he was still under investigation today. Wasn't that what they were waffling about?
Once again, I don't have the transcript in front of me, and I could be sort of
How about this?
misremembering in a way that is inaccurate.
How about the both of you, before this comes in, check in on those witnesses, either now or later, whenever. But before they testify, I would just find it incredible that one of those witnesses who testified would not know at the time these messages were sent.
They know
they're charged or not.
They know he has not been charged.
I would find that incredible and raise my eyebrows during the trial, probably.
Yes, I understand it, but occasionally there are witnesses who try to silo themselves off from decisions that they claim were other people's and claim that because they didn't make the decision, they don't really know.
One of the witnesses was quite straightforward, though, and said he could not disprove self-defense. Didn't one of the witnesses say that?
Yes, but they didn't, and once again, I might be misremembering, but it was the issue of charges being filed, since that's not the sheriff's department's decision.
Right.
See, and I completely, Flash fan, what she just said kind of goes to what your comment is. A lot of people you saw were mad because he says the mention of the dad is excluded. The thing is he was never formally charged. The charges were dropped, and you can be charged with anything, but if the charges are dropped, you're technically not charged with anything. So, like, if he had been found innocent of that, like, I can see them bringing it in. But because he was never charged, there's this, yes, he did it, and they can say that he unalived somebody, and they thought it was self-defense. But not really saying that the dad was the one who did it is the weird part to me. Like, you can say who he is, like, you can't say his name, and you can't say what relation, but you can say that he unalived somebody. I do think the dad is a very, very important part to the story that I think the judge might be missing. And this is kind of my point with the whole what the Hales saga, and I hate to keep bringing it up, but it's kind of an important point. Like, you and I think that it being the dad that he unalived, even in self-defense, is important, but the jury's not going to be able to see that. So like, when I make comments about what I think personally versus what the jury might see, this is exactly the kind of crap I'm talking about. You and I and 99% of America that watch this think that the fact that the person he unalived was his father is absolutely vital to the story. However, the jury's not going to see that. So you can't always take the context of the situation. You can't always include that because the judge won't let the jury see it. So that's one of the things that makes depositions, legal filings, anything that might come in, and how you write your legal filings, and if you can be persuasive to the judge to let that in. Because it's not always about what we know in the background of this person or the history of the case. It's only what the jury's allowed to see. And that's the problem. Yep. If charges drop, then you're innocent until proven guilty by them bringing back the charges. Yeah, it's no, Levy County. Levy County is very rural. It's just one of those things. Like, I just bring up the comparison between the two cases because I've had some criticism about, well, people, when I read the legal filings, and people are like, but you have to know about the last 3 years. This is a prime example of just because we think something is important does not mean that the jury will be able to see what we view as important to the case. The judge doesn't see that as important, therefore the jury won't see it. It makes everything else even more important. And that's why when you write a shitty legal filing, it matters. It might be funny to read, but like it matters in the long term. I did not. I might have to look into those though. But this lawyer says it kind of perfectly in that I could take what she just said and make it to the other, like apply it to a different case.
Well, my memory of the evidence was that was as of today when OSBI
Yes.
took over. That was not my impression at the time, before this killing occurred. It seemed like everything was just in a holding pattern, but they would have known if he had been charged, whether it was OSBI's case or the sheriff's case.
Yes, I would assume so.
So let me know if that's a problem.
And we should get the transcript of the hearing anytime now, and we'll discuss it. I appreciate Mr. Levine saying he believes they know that he has not been charged.
I live in a small town. It's not quite as apparent,
That was all I had.
but
Yes.
it is what it is.
We need to have our status. There's several things we need to discuss. I know I saw an email that was sent to you, Mr. Levine, but I was copied on it about what's this statement of facts for it. Has that been clarified for you?
I think so. It's to be read to the jury at the outset to see if anybody has memory of having read about the case, has any knowledge of it.
Is there any objection to that?
I would need to, what I said was, let's wait and see what the ruling is, and then I'll readdress it, so I can, I'll talk with Mr. Levine about that after. I don't have it in front of me.
It's usually just a couple sentences about where and when it occurred.
And yep, and that's what I'm pretty sure that's all it was, but
All right.
I'll need to look at it again.
Have you talked with Mr. Levine or any of your colleagues at the Public Defender's Office about how I've typically done jury selection?
Yes, so I understand that you start in the main courtroom with a large number of people. There are some preliminary matters, although I don't know exactly what they are.
How cute is this? Side note.
Give the instruction we
Puma
have to get
tracksuit.
about researching, talking about the case, and then introduce everyone involved, explain their roles, give them some guidance about how to answer questions in terms of speaking up, not gesturing, those sorts of things. Then I read the indictment.
All right. And Sir Frank Otter, what you just said, cases like this in my county normally get moved out of this county to a different one because the jury would know the guy too well. That is what makes, for those of you who have followed the Kentucky versus Mickey Steins, the sheriff of Letcher County, he's not being held in Letcher County, but his trial will be in Letcher County. I find that the fact that his defense team has not filed for a change of venue outrageous, because that is a very rural county. That county has about as many people as the county I live in now, and it's not many. All right, so I will show you the clerk's website for Polk County. It is not unbelievably difficult. You go to public access, you let them know you're not a robot, and then I have to stop sharing for a second because oh, come on. If my internet will work, I swear, Flashman, if I go off the grid, because see? There we go. Public access. I'm not a robot. Proceed. Oh, if it's not going to let me, I was literally just on this last night. That's this one. Oh, if it's not going to let me now, I'm going to laugh. Let me stop sharing and see if I can get it to work. Close down YouTube. Okay. There is a... Whoa. So I know better now for tomorrow. Hi. You want to come up here? What do you want? You want this? No. Girl, you want a whole bunch of stuff that I can't help you with. Oh, there we go. Can you go cover up your strawberries, please? I'm putting in his last name because I can't, when I put in his first name, it defaults to mine for some reason. So public search. I clicked felony. This is Polk County. This is it's really not that difficult to yeah, Grady doesn't play, and I kind of like that. Like, I kind of like sheriffs who are fair but don't F around. You know what you're getting, and you know that you're getting a fair but stern. Angel, you gonna pick up your strawberries that you dumped over? Okay, thank you. Squid's being charged in Polk County. No, like when you have like autofill, like as soon as you click on something, it wants to put in your information, and I'm like, no. Let's see if it will actually open up, because there's the fun times, you know. That would be about it. I mean, for those of you who said they were going to do a deep dive into my background, I went to court in 2008 for a speeding ticket that happened in 2006. And no, I didn't skip out on court. I deployed. So technically speaking, I did. But so this is all the documents in this case. And the problem with doing things is you have to request an image and then it comes back. So not everything in here is like I opened it or I clicked on it and it would be pending. So I'd have to request that it be put in there. So it's what is I generally don't like to background check the people in my chat. I only do what I need to do to, know that, yeah, Orange County is easier because Orange County just puts everything in there. However, there has been a lot of just supplemental discovery, and that's part of why I didn't upload any documents, because supplemental discovery, it's like supplemental discovery, supplemental discovery, supplemental discovery. It's all just saying we want this. We want this. There was the so here's an interesting one. And what'll happen is when it comes up, if it comes up, I'll share it. You click on there we go. And it'll be like document request. And it won't come up. So it has to, and it's still loading because, my internet can't be super. So like order authorizing, make it bigger. And see, it doesn't make it any bigger either. So I'm going to download it. This was 1.3 because I have some of these documents downloaded, but not all of them because it Grady Judd reminds me of the dude that used to be out in Arizona, the sheriff that made people sleep outside. That I can't. Yeah, I do. I was off the grid for the week because I have AT&T for internet, and AT&T was down in most of Georgia over the weekend, and it's weird. It's like back, but it's not back. It's back, but you can tell they're still working on it because one minute it'll be up and the next minute it won't be. Let's see. I have to the YouTube channel Collin Griffith, and I'm because of going through all the documents with Captain Kern, I am assessing how I save documents in my computer. And I also have to go through and get rid of documents because I have a lot of documents that I don't need anymore. Like most of the Carly Gregg documents that are all uploaded to the Carly Gregg file on Discord, I don't need on my computer anymore. So, yeah. Yeah, honestly, right here, there is no difference between, like, we had Xfinity before, and Xfinity sucked too. So there's being in this area, there is no good internet. When we move, we will be back closer to civilization, and all internets will work better, and we will have more of a variety. We only get, you either had Xfinity or your cell phone provider. You know how like T-Mobile does the whole like the Wi-Fi or the router, you know, the commercials that you always see. Well, AT&T has the same thing. So it's a comes and goes situation. Yes, it's a welcome to a very backwoods town. Like you go a mile out of town and there's nothing. There's nothing. The nearest Walmart is 35 minutes away. So if you can, yeah, Sheriff are up. Yeah. Yeah, him. There's also a sheriff in that area that was on 60 Days in Arizona, that I would love to talk to. I have a whole thing of like, I would love to talk to sheriffs from across the country and just get their opinions on everything. Preferably former sheriffs who don't have to worry about like, the blowback on their next election, but I would love to just talk to sheriffs like David Clark from Milwaukee. He was technically a Democrat, voted for him all the time because he was a very no nonsense. Hey, you can call the cops, but your self-defense freedom seed tosser is quicker than we will ever be. Like that kind of stuff. Like, let's see. Collin Griffith. And I have so many, 1, 3. I'm saving these different, and I'm starting to go through. Part of the thing that's taking me a long time with documents is I'm going through and I'm changing the way I'm labeling them, because going through all those documents with Captain Kern taught me that when you get a file and they're all saved like 1/3/25, 1/4/25, they go by the month and not the year. So I'm putting the year first so that I can find documents way easier. All right. I'm slowly learning what's easier and what's working and what doesn't work. It's just taking trial and error. Because obviously, like, nothing works perfectly the first time you do it. And if you do it right the first time, how did you do that? So it's trial and error. And the fact that my channel is less than a year old, I'm still learning a lot. Like, I'm still learning a lot. And I have a lot to go. But I've learned a lot, but my background is medical, not computers, not technology, not design, not editing. I'm not a journalist. Don't claim to be. But I'm learning. Yeah, they got to be careful who they talk about cases. And see, a lot of the times I don't want to talk to these people about active cases. I just want to talk to them like Nick Whitney. I would love to talk to Nick Whitney. And what I want to talk to him about has nothing to do with any active case he's involved in. Because right now he's technically involved in 2 cases that I'm following. The Maya Kowalski case and the Dr. Goodhair case. I would love to talk to him about what he did in the Navy, and he flew, and I was naval aviation. So I would love to just talk to these people and get their personalities. No, because his voice is like nails on a chalkboard to me. Like, I just can't, no. But, like, I have a list of, like, and I don't even want to interview them. I just want to talk. I just want to have a conversation. Because I'm fascinated by who they are as people, not necessarily what they're involved in professionally. I'm kind of weird like that. I just want to talk to them. So this was filed in the beginning of January. Order authorizing and ordering release of DCF records and protective order. Like, ooh, yeah, he would be another one. That is just like, why did you become a lawyer? Why did you become a criminal defense lawyer? How do you take the cases that you do? And how do you feel about some of the cases that you've done? Do you ever feel bad, like, about certain cases? Like, I don't need to know details. Do you ever feel bad about defending someone who is entitled to a defense, but might not deserve a defense? And why do you charge so much money? Ordered and adjudged that the state office of the state attorney is authorized and ordered to produce to defendant through counsel DCF records currently in his possession provided by the Polk County Sheriff's Office relating to the above captioned case. It's further ordered and adjudged that any and all records, reports, or recordings from the Department of Children and Family Services are to be... Excuse me, ma'am. Can you turn the volume down on that, please, so I don't get copyright struck? Angel, volume down, please. Volume down. No. Can you all hear that music? Because if you can, I need to go turn it down. I don't want my she's usually good when I say volume down. She'll turn the volume down, but girl likes to get me copyright struck for something that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Okay. Thanks. She turned it down. She has a few favorite songs, and right now it's Let's Go. And I don't want to yes, I know. Plus, you were considered rich if you had a call waiting. Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah. That it like we had an attorney that the company that we were going against had to hire outside counsel. And the counsel was apparently $1,300 an hour that they had to hire. And it was like just weird. Like, I can't imagine paying $1,300 an hour. J-Hip, thanks for the $9.99 super chat. Gotta go to bed, dear. I'll catch the rest later. Have a great day. Thank you. I can be wrong about background music. Doesn't give you a strike. I hope not. I just don't want to take any chances because I got my stream taken down because I was covering the inauguration. So, like, I am not taking chances with YouTube and what YouTube decides to be a jerk about today. They took one of my streams down for doxing when I showed my own email address, my Squid email address. And they took my stream down for doxing someone when it was my own damn email address. And it was an accident that I even showed it. It was one of those, like, you know, when you are in Google and you're in Chrome and all of a sudden you go to type something in your email address, like it says, do you want to use this account to access this site? It was one of those. So I don't take chances because I try not to. It's different covering like court TV when I'm talking over them or pausing it and putting my own opinion in there. But just to have a song in the background, I don't want to do it. I don't want to take the chance because I can't monetize that video. And this is my job. Like, this is how I pay my half, or not my half, but like this and my VA disability money is all I have to input into helping my family put food on the table. So even if it's only like 50 cents or $1 for a stream, I'm kind of like, that's 50 cents that I can use to put gas in my car. And like, my car is getting old and I would like a a newer one, and I would like a car that doesn't fall apart. My car has a giant like hit me sign on it. People like to hit it. People like Mr. Squid ran over a raccoon with it, and it destroyed the whole undercarriage of my car. So I want a truck or an SUV, but like that is with buying the house is not in the cards right now. So I'm like one step at a time. So like any money that I make is going into savings so that I can put I can function in life. Because if you don't have a running car around here, and then my car will become what Mr. Squid takes to work, because he takes his truck to work right now and spends, I don't know, a couple $100 in gas every week. Like, because he has a 70-mile drive to work one way. So this is my job. So if it's like, if I'm overly cautious about not being copyright struck or have any of my streams demonetized, it's because I all this money is valuable to me, and I am grateful that I am even here, like making money sitting in front of my computer reading legal documents, something that I would do on my own. This is something that I would do offline, so the fact that I can share it with you and make pennies on the dollar, I'm grateful for that. Every little bit adds up. Yes. And because I'm not trading in my vehicle, we're going to use it as our third vehicle, because Mr. Squid totaled the last one because a deer hit him. He hit a deer and it totaled the car. We kind of need to be a third vehicle family, and having two vehicles it works, but it's expensive. So it's so not trading it in, I'm not going to have that trade-in value. So it's like save. I'm on the that's one of the reasons that I'm on a diet, because the less I eat, the less food I need to buy. And it's cheaper because food's expensive. So it's just one of those, like, every penny is allocated to places either now or in the future. You want ice? Okay. Give Mama 5 more minutes, okay? And then we'll get ice. Her new favorite thing is she likes to go into the freezer and get ice. Is that okay? High five? Hey. Please don't tip that over. Oh. And thanks. And thank you. I have my favorite to the $4.99 super chat. I've been there. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's not like we're not hurting for money, but like I don't have a full-time job. So we're working off of like 1 1/4 income. So we're not hurting for money, but if we don't have, like, every little bit that comes in helps us. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I had folded those, but never mind. I'll fold them again. Don't worry. Toddler life. Gotta love it. Hey, Orphan Kitty Rescue. All right. All right. It's further ordered and adjudged that any and all records, reports, recordings from the Department of Children and Family Services are to be maintained as confidential and are not reproduced and may not be viewed by any persons other than counsel for the parties, the defendant under the supervision of counsel or the defendant's duly assigned investigator, and any expert witnesses retained or consulted for the purpose of evaluation and consultation in this case, unless otherwise ordered by the court. This order does not limit disclosure to or reproduction for law enforcement or other entities specifically granted access by Chapter 39 of Florida statutes. It is further ordered and adjudged that except as to matters specifically exempt from disclosure by the statute, personnel of Department of Children and Family Services are authorized and ordered to appear with records and testify upon service of legally sufficient process at any deposition, hearing, or trial in this matter. That's an important one. If you're asked a question about it in a deposition, you have to answer. Yes, I will be right there. We're going to do one more to finish this document, and then I'm done, okay? And then we'll go play, and we'll go cook lunch. Authorized to reproduce and provide to the defendant through defendant's counsel any recording, whether video, audio, or otherwise, relating to the above referenced matter. Reasonable costs of reproduction may be assessed and shall be borne by the defendant prior or to or upon delivery. So that it's interesting that the DCF stuff gets to come in. So it's interesting in this case what is coming in and what's not. And all these documents I will put on our Discord server, and I will do it today. That is my goal for today. When we are going tonight for the first part of this trial, I will put everything that is relevant. I'm not going to put all these supplemental discoveries because a lot of the times they're like this short, and it's like, I will also put the Polk County Clerk's website if you want to go look for yourself. But there's like transcripts. There's a transcript of this hearing. I can. Oh, it's almost noon, isn't it? And I think that is when we will call it a day because we've been doing this for an hour and 40 minutes. I know better for tomorrow to start the stream of the trial and just pause it. So it'll keep going, but I'm at the beginning so that when we get to it, I will have it up. I did not realize that Law and Crime would not let me start at the beginning. So I apologize for that. That is completely my fault. Yeah, that's the case. I have to pass on to you and her what Sir Frank Otter, because Sir Frank Otter is my Nebraska know-it-all. Everything about Nebraska courts and finding documents, I ask him his opinion because he is there and knows more than me. So she asked me a question and I asked him. So I have to get back to both of you guys on that matter. I am setting up the redirect now. Oh, and we only made $23.96 in super chats, so no garlic clove today. I'm keeping an eye on that one. Let's see, content, live. And I appreciate y'all being here with me this morning because I know a lot of people are live on any time in the morning, and it's great to have y'all here. Even if you're just lurking, watching on TV while you're doing stuff around the house. Yeah. Nebraska courts are easy to navigate once you know how they go. And the documents for the other case I looked into are the only were the only experience that I've ever had with Nebraska courts. All right, we are going to redirect to AJ. I will hopefully save it because the last time I tried to redirect to myself, it didn't work. So I have it on redirect. I'm going to pray it gets you there. Tell her I said hi. She will be starting relatively soon. I appreciate y'all for hanging out and being flexible with me. Like I said, I've been trying to get on a more regular schedule, and it's just like every time I try, something happens. And it's like, I have to figure out what works. And then with moving, we'll figure it out. When I move and we get the new setup, it'll be easier because then like I won't have to take an entire afternoon to go grocery shopping. It'll take me an hour. So I can do it in the morning instead of having to because when you have a 40-minute drive to Walmart, 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back, 40 minutes shopping, I have to plan accordingly how I do everything in time. And when we move, that'll be so much easier. Oh, thank you. I'm hoping everything, so far it's good. It's just a very invasive process. I got to send documents like every other day. And I'm like, it's invasive. But hopefully in like 3 weeks we'll move. I might have to do some streams from my laptop while we're figuring out where we because right now Mr. Squid has his setup in the guest bedroom and I have mine here in the dining room. We don't have a formal dining room in our new house, so I'm not exactly sure. We're gonna have to share a room and how we're gonna do it and all of that fun stuff. Whoa. All right, you want to say goodbye? Say bye. Say I will see you guys on the next one. We'll see you. You want to say see you guys tonight? Bye. Oh. Yeah, I used to drive an hour and 15 minutes one way to get to Walmart until they put one in my town. That's kind of where we're at right now, and we're moving back to the town that we used to live in. So like we're moving back to we're closer to family and stuff like that too. So you want to say bye? Use your words. Say bye. See you. I'm gonna make her little bye. See you part of my my outro or a button when I upgrade my setup. Right now, less than a year old. I'm still learning, guys. So I appreciate you learning with me and being like, it's not all it's like, it is harder than it looks. I am not good at some things. I don't claim to be. And I practice. And thank you for being my guinea pigs. All right. Say bye. You have to use your word. Bye. See you. You say see you? Y'all have a great day. Say hi to AJ for me, and I will see you tonight. You want to say bye? You gonna use your words? Oh, right here. Okay. Bye, guys. See you. There we go.